If you are a caring person, this video is for you. If you care deeply about other people, about the world, and about doing the right thing. Chances are you might also be a worrier. Maybe you equate worrying to caring. And this is a really important distinction. So often when we're caring people, we worry a lot. Maybe you think that if you don't stress about what's wrong, then you're not caring. But what if all that worry is holding you back from the difference that you want to make? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to transform your worry into wisdom so that instead of stressing and worrying, you can actually make a difference. And I'm going to share something really confronting that happened to me last year. And I want to share how I shifted that into a state of empowerment so that I could take inspired action, and how you can do the same. So I'm going to share a short clip from my Soul Space membership where I tell about this incident, this thing that happened that had me feeling so awful and worried, and exactly how I shifted it. So let's watch the clip now. I care deeply about the environment. I care deeply about Mother Earth and this planet. We had an experience where we went snorkeling, and sometimes in this part of Indonesia, depending on what the tides are doing, and the rain, we experienced snorkeling in the ocean where there was a lot of plastic, and it makes me want to cry when I think about it. And it was a how can I describe, very confronting experience, a shocking experience. And I've seen the videos, I've seen the photos, and I've spoken to people. I know that the ocean in different areas and at different times is riddled with garbage and plastic. And but you know, seeing it up front and close and firsthand in amongst these beautiful creatures. We were swimming with manta rays, and they were huge and graceful, majestic, so beautiful, and these colorful tropical fish, and then just plastic in our faces, straws and bags. And so it was upsetting, and it stayed with me. And then I often, when I'm traveling, I'm aware of, you know, the environment and our choices, behaviors, actions, ways in which heavy tourism in these parts that we're going to has affected things. And you know, looking at how much plastic's being produced and used. And so what I just want to say is that if I just stay in that ruminating, upset, fear-based thinking, my mind goes to very much resisting and fighting the way things are, and getting all upset and turning it over. And then sometimes I might get angry, I might start going into blaming different, you know, who's to blame. I feel my vibration drops, I feel so sad, and then my mind also keeps going into the future, like this is just going to get worse, we're just poisoning the ocean, we're never going to be able to want to ever eat anything from the ocean, and we're doing the same to the earth, you know, and it just goes on and on. It's not helping. It's not helping me, and it's not helping the situation. So I've used this as a practice to just come back to loving awareness, and to not do anything, because when I come back to loving awareness, my heart explodes and expands with possibility. I have felt so fired up about this, and I've had some beautiful conversations with people, locals and other tourists, and we connected with a guy just randomly, a South African guy who's a documentary maker. He makes films and documentaries a little bit like Mark, my husband, you know, with all the cameras and similar skills, but he was a lot younger, and he's also a conservationist, and we just happened to meet him the day after I had this experience. We've connected with and shared contact details. I spoke to our good friend who lives in this part of on the island, Chenangan Island, where we were staying. He has a restaurant. He has a lot of connections with all of the locals, and I spoke to him about this and about some solutions, and I gave him more perspective from, you know, for example, he was believing that the tourists that come to his restaurant were wanting him to be providing plastic straws, that it was the expectation, you know. And I said to him, look, you know, in many places they've been banned already. We're used to this. We don't want the plastic straws, and if some people are inconvenienced by a paper straw or a metal straw, then so be it, you know. I'm able to respond to a situation that does need change. And another thing that I've done about this is that it has just come to me that it actually, since in the last 24 hours since we've been here in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, again, I'm just looking at this huge city and the amount of, you know, plastic that's being used and things like that. And then I started to shift my focus, because I started to notice examples of the opposite. I started to notice examples of where change is happening. And then I decided I'm going to start collecting these examples on my phone. So and I'm finding so many examples: recycling stations, beautiful examples of sustainable materials being used instead of plastic. Lots of other examples and the more that I look, the more that I see. And remember, it is so true that energy flows where attention goes. So where my attention goes is where energy goes. We are all connected, and we can make a positive difference just through our vibration, our frequency. So we want to be raising our conscious awareness through having a loving present moment awareness to a relationship to the way things go. This raises our wisdom, our awareness, our vibration, our frequency. Things unfold differently when we do that. And again, just choosing to having a loving awareness, a loving relationship, a soulful relationship with the way things go, rather than resisting, fighting, that creates more suffering, lowers your frequency, does not allow you to access wisdom. And I believe that ultimately the change that we need to see in the world, it's going to come from a shift in collective consciousness, and that can only begin from an inside-out approach. We as individuals, you and I, need to take radical responsibility for our internal state. And with that is to allow ourselves to be in a continual, committed practice of having that loving, peaceful, friendly, soulful relationship with the way things go. So as you can see, it's not about not caring. It's about shifting out of worry into wisdom, so that we can have the clarity, the peace, and the energy to really make a difference. And when we stop fighting against what is, we can access the energy and the wisdom that we need to know what it is that we want to do. So I'd love to know if this resonates with you. Leave a comment below. Let me know. Are you someone who has tended to be a worrier because you are a caring person? Did you learn that worry equals caring? And does this inspire you to do things in a different way? Leave a comment below and let me know. And be sure to grab my ebook and video on the 3 barriers to inner peace and the 1 solution. I'll put the link below this video. See you next time.